What's up, everybody? How we doing? Welcome to Cancun. How are we? Yeah, I'm here at the hotel with the family on a very much needed holiday, and a well-deserved holiday, let's be honest. Been grinding away. Anyway, not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Jon Jones is back. Jon Jones is ready. Jon Jones is good to go. According to Dana White, all the contractual issues, all the problems, all the negotiations are done, they're finished, they're taken care of, and the greatest mixed martial arts in the history, mixed martial artist, in the history of the human race, in the history of the UFC. The GOAT is back, baby. And yes, I know a lot of people say, brother, this is Khabib. Khabib is number one, and this is number one bullshit.
This is number one bullshit.
But no, he's not. And I know that's a hot take, right? Khabib is one of the best, but Jon Jones, reigned roughshod over the division for multiple generations, took out legends after legend after legend, contender after contender after contender, and then he said, my work here is done, I am moving up to heavyweight, right? And that was where the whole negotiation came in, because of course, going up to heavyweight to face Francis Ngannou, one of the most scariest, deadliest men on the planet, Jon wanted a new contract, okay? So there were some sticking points, there were some negotiations, but fortunately, that's all done. That kept him out of the Octagon for a while, okay? That's his prerogative. That's done. It's taken care of. The contracts are signed. Apparently, Dana White says that Jon Jones is good to go. So that means right now, we're going to get ready. We're going to get ready for the greatest of all time to potentially go up against the greatest of all time, because Dana said, he said, listen, we're not sure who it's going to be yet. It's either going to be Stipe Miocic or Francis Ngannou. Now, Francis Ngannou, heavyweight champion of the world, and I think that's what everybody wants to see. Okay, Jon Jones against the heavyweight champ would be incredible, but against Stipe Miocic, that would also be the greatest of all time versus the greatest heavyweight of all time. I mean, what a fight that would be. We don't know who it's going to be simply because of Francis Ngannou. We don't know the timeline. Of course, he hurt his knee in his last fight or prior to his last fight, so he's on the sidelines for a little bit. Okay, we don't know when he's going to come back. So that I think that will determine who it's going to be. Now, for my money, when you look at Jon Jones, as I say, he is the greatest of all time. Okay, and I know that's always open for debate, and I know there is debate simple because of the performance enhancing drugs, the picograms, okay? They're all over the place.
Everybody's on steroids.
Yes, that is a factor. That should be considered. That should eradicate him, okay? But still, if you forget about that bit for 1 second and you look at what the man achieved, what he did, the performances that he had, the dominance that he had, that he showed, that he displayed. I mean, come on, okay? Forget about the peds for a second. And I know, I do not reward anybody that takes performance-enhancing drugs, okay? But he claims innocence. USADA said the picograms could pulse and all the rest of it. I don't know if you're familiar with the story. But if we forget about that for 1 second, he's the greatest of all time. So who's he going to fight when he comes back? And as I said, it's Stipe Miocic or Francis Ngannou. If I am Jon Jones, I would say fight Francis Ngannou. You know why? Because him versus the heavyweight champ, that's what he's here to do, okay? It's the legacy. He wants to move up, he wants to challenge for the belt, and he wants to put it to bed. Listen, his number one contender, his number one rival, should I say, Daniel Cormier. He became the light heavyweight champ in the absence of Jon Jones. He went up to heavyweight. He knocked out Stipe Miocic to become the champ, defended against Derek Lewis, and then had 2 more fights against Stipe, which didn't go his way. Great fights, though. Fantastic fights. So Jones wants to go up, and he wants to, because even though he won't admit it, you know, the rivalry with Daniel Cormier is still there, okay? His greatest rival went up and became a champion at heavyweight. Don't tell me that Jon Jones doesn't want to do that. And don't tell me that Jon Jones doesn't care about his legacy or the fact that people think he's the greatest of all time. He was often very active on Twitter talking about Khabib and other people like that. When people said that he wasn't the greatest, he actually got very offended. He got very upset. And I don't blame him. The body of work that he's had, what he's done, what he's achieved, the way that he's beaten people from when he first came to the UFC is unbelievable. Now, granted, he struggled his last few fights. Fights that he won, mind you. You know, I'm talking about Dominic Reyes. I'm talking about Thiago Santos. In fact, a lot of people thought that maybe he even lost some of those fights. The reality is they were very, 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 very close fights. So maybe, you know, maybe the narrative is true that he fights to the level of his opponents. Well, if he's going to fight Francis Ngannou, he better be ready. How does he do against Francis Ngannou? And why do I think it should be Ngannou first? Well, because if he fights Stipe Miocic, there's a reality that Stipe Miocic beats him. Let's be honest, Stipe is the greatest heavyweight of all time, the most successful defenses, the most knockouts, knocked out Fabrizio Verdum going backwards, stopped DC with body shots, some of the performances that Stipe has had, and he beat Francis Ngannou as well. Some of the performances have been incredible. The man is a legend in his own right. So I think in a weird way, in terms of skill set and stylistically, Stipe Miocic could possibly be a harder fight than Francis Ngannou. We know what Francis Ngannou offers, what he brings to the table. I apologise, the camera's shaking a little bit. It's a little bit windy by the ocean, don't you know? No, Francis Ngannou, we know what he brings to the table. It's that freakish power. That power that just, if he connects with people, he puts you to sleep. And he doesn't even need to be a flush shot. Unbloody believable, okay? Yeah, the man's got freakish knockout power. So that's what Jones would have to avoid in that fight. I think obviously the wrestling of Jon Jones would be a big factor. I don't think, with respect to Jon Jones, I don't think Jones has the power to hurt him on the feet. Of course, we know he uses his long range weapons well. He uses a lot of push kicks, a lot of teeps, a lot of jabs, but it's the ground and pound, the wrestling. He can take most people down, and when he gets on top, holy shit, I don't think there's anyone as good or as talented or as dangerous when they're on top of somebody at dropping elbows. And I'm not talking about the Matt Hamill disqualification when he came with the 12-6 elbows, which is bullshit, by the way. He should never have been disqualified. But still, that aside, I think Stipe might be a more dangerous fight, because I think Stipe, with the wrestling base, could stop the takedowns of Jon Jones, and then therefore they're forced to fight on the feet. And on the feet, who knows? Maybe Stipe is more dangerous. Maybe Stipe could knock out Jon Jones. You know what I mean? He can certainly pack a punch. He's a big guy. He's probably the stronger guy. Now, how heavy is Jon Jones going to be when he comes back to the Octagon? We know that he talked recently when he was at the Hall of Fame, and sadly that was when he went off and got into his latest spot of bother. He was saying that he was 265 pounds. So 265 pound Jon Jones is a scary motherfucking prospect. Okay, the man was very, very tall. He was always kind of lean. That's why they called him Bones. But now they're going to call him Beefy. John Beefy Jones. Okay, because the man's big, 265, wrestling like crazy, powerful elbows, experience like nobody else on planet Earth. If you are a Jon Jones fan, then the wait is over. The drought is over. The king is back, whatever you want to say. Jon Jones is coming back. It's going to be Francis Ngannou. It's going to be Stipe Miocic. It's going to be relatively soon, and I can't fucking wait. My advice, John, if you're listening, don't take my advice, but my advice would be go straight for the champion, Francis Ngannou, because Stipe Miocic is just as dangerous a fight, but it doesn't have the cachet of being a championship fight. But anyway, there you go. I'm just here in Cancun, as I said, about to go out for dinner. Thought I'd share my thoughts with you, that one. Really quick. Hope you're all well, wherever you are in the world. If you haven't subscribed and rung the bell, then come on, subscribe and ring the bell. Anyway, you guys take care. All the best. Thank you.